My hotel flooded. My hotel flooded. I'm Courtney, and this story will teach you English. This story is about my hotel flooding. I checked in to my hotel. The person working reception said, "Oh, our elevators aren't working. Our elevators are broken. You have to use the backup elevators. You have to use the elevators down the hall." And I said, "Oh, okay, no problem. I hope you fix your elevators soon." And the receptionist said, "I doubt we'll fix our elevators soon. We had a flood." "Whoa," I said. "You guys had a flood?" "Yeah," she said. "We had a flood because our fire sprinklers went off." Fire sprinklers are attached to the ceiling. Fire sprinklers have a small glass bulb, a small round piece of glass. Fire sprinklers work like this. If the air gets hot, if the air gets really hot, 135 degrees Fahrenheit, then the bulb breaks, the glass breaks, and it releases water. Fire sprinklers help put out fires. Well, the fire sprinklers broke. What happened? Well, a little kid was in the lobby. A little kid was in the area of the hotel that you first walk into. And the little kid was waiting for his parents to check into the hotel. His parents were checking into the hotel and they weren't paying attention. They weren't watching their kid because they were busy. They were checking into the hotel. It turns out the little kid was playing with a ball. The little kid had a ball and he was bouncing the ball. He bounced the ball so high that it hit one of the fire sprinklers. The ball hit the glass. The glass broke. The little piece of glass broke. The ball hit the glass broke, and water started to flood the entire building. Water started to flood the entire building from the fire sprinklers. All the fire sprinklers in the whole building, they all went off. They were all triggered. There was no way to shut off the fire sprinklers. You had to call the fire department. The fire department came and shut off the fire sprinklers. But while everyone was waiting for the fire department, the water kept rising. The water started to flood the entire floor. The water kept rising and rising. The water rose 1 to 2 feet. 1 to 2 feet. The entire hotel was completely flooded. And all the people could do was wait. They had to wait. I don't know how I would have felt if I was that kid's parents. I don't know what I would have done. I would have felt so awful. But it's also just a kid. It's just a kid playing with a ball. No one knew that the ball would hit the fire sprinklers. No one knew that the ball would cause the fire sprinklers to flood the entire hotel. No one knew. I don't know who paid for the damage. I don't know if the hotel had insurance and paid for the damage, or if the parents of the kid had to pay for the damage. I'm not sure. I think a hotel has to have insurance. I think a hotel has to have insurance for situations like this. And if something happens in the hotel, the insurance will pay. If there's a flood, the insurance will pay. If there's a fire, the insurance will pay. If there's some major damage, the insurance will pay. I think that's how it works, but I'm not sure. All I know is that the elevators were not working for 3 months, probably about 3 months, because the elevators weren't working the last time I came here, and today, 3 months later, the elevators are supposed to work tomorrow. They're supposed to work tomorrow. They had to dry the entire building. They had to get rid of all of the water. They had to replace some things in the hotel because they were damaged by the flooding. And they had to fix the elevators. They had to fix all of the electrical in the elevators because the electrical got damaged in the flooding. Obviously, you don't want to put people on an elevator that's damaged. If you put people on an elevator that's damaged, they could get hurt. Or they could get trapped. If the elevator stops working, they could become trapped in the elevator. And no one wants to be trapped inside an elevator. I think this is a pretty crazy story. But this hotel, there's always something that happens. There's always something that happens at or near this hotel that makes for an interesting story. Maybe I'll tell you more of those stories in the future, but this hotel always has something interesting happening. If you want to listen more, consider signing up for my weekly audio tests. There's an A1 audio, an A2 audio, a B1 audio, and a B2 audio to help you test your English every week. Thanks for listening. I'm Courtney. I'll see you later. Bye.